Want me to tell my story now?
Sure.
This park, it was our home away from home when I was a kid. We played in it almost 80 years ago. I remember all the bird song. That's gorgeous. I remember just at the entrance of the park down in that hill, we would play football or baseball or whatever. And there were fruit trees in there. Foster Hewitt used to live in that house. Foster Hewitt was the voice of the Toronto Maple Leafs hockey. So if we wanted fruit, sometimes we would help ourselves to the fruit from fruit trees. My mind kind of goes back to the kids I used to play with. I don't know where they are now.
You haven't been in touch since you left the park?
Not really. No. I think maybe I mentioned to you once before, there was one time I was sitting on the hill by this tree, looking down at these kids playing. And I was only 11 or 12 years old at the time. And all of a sudden I could feel myself like away from that, you know. And I wrote a poem about that. I felt so different on that day. I couldn't find the words. Could only hear the kids at play and listen to the birds. Then he opened wide a door and said, "Come through and see the life that I've prepared for you, the life for you and me." And then I heard, "Hey, Kenny, come on, let's run and play." I looked around to see him, but he had gone away. So off we ran into the woods to discuss what was there. We climbed the trees and swam the stream and listened to the birds. And life went on. The stream flowed by. We went our separate ways. I lived the life that was foreseen and left the kids at play. When I was in grade 8, our school was invited to a basketball tournament at the high school for boys in Toronto. I went down there and I was one of the taller kids playing that day, and I guess I was noticed by this particular priest. Anyway, I went on to that school and I ended up playing on the school's basketball teams, and this priest became my basketball coach. He called me into his office one day, and I thought he just wanted to talk about the basketball, and that's when he abused me. It certainly disrupted my life. We went on a tournament to Niagara Falls. It was supposed to be a great tournament, but I'd lost my heart for the game. I remember going down to the Niagara River, and I had consumed a Mickey of rum. And I could hear the rush of the river and the rush of the waves and the rush of the falls, and I just wanted to disappear. It was not a healthy existence for anybody. Also, I went into the seminary. In that same seminary, my mother was so happy. But I lasted 3 days. In the morning, somebody would come around to wake you up. They would come and knock on the door. Lost to be Christy, praise to you, Christ. You'd have to respond. The third day he came around and he yelled this out to me, and I said, "Go to hell." I felt trapped. So I started to bury this experience so that no one would know and I would try to forget about it. So I stopped going to the park. I started going to pool halls and pubs. I always thought that, when I get to be 21, I'll become an adult. 21 was the magic age. Of course, when I became 21, I was no different. When one is abused, they stay in that position all their life. I was a teenager for most of my life. Went on to have a successful teaching career, but after I retired, imagine after all those years, it came thundering down on me. Now, why I was able to go on, I think the only answer I have for that is my wife, who has been such a saint, living with me my entire life and supporting me my entire life. Especially once she found out, she went into action, and watch out, boy, she was great. My doctor referred me to a psychiatrist, a lady with whom I spent 13 years. Eventually, I came to understand this was an experience that so many people had, and I wasn't alone. But I don't like it to define my life, because had it not been for that experience, I might have gone into the priesthood, and so I never would have met Louise and had the life that I did. So I'm completely happy with my life.
So what has it been like coming back to the park?
Oh, it's been an incredible experience for me to come back to the park. I mean, that was probably the most positive experience of my life. And so it's been a tremendous boost.
I'm happy I could come with you.
I'm really happy that you came with me, Matthew, and it's meant a lot to me for you being with me, my grandson to be with me, and to be able to share my whole life with you, really. Yeah, thank you. I felt so different on that day. I couldn't find the words. Could only hear the kids at play and listen to the birds. Then he opened wide a door and said, "Come through and see the life that I've prepared for you, the life for you and me." And then I heard, "Hey, Kenny, come on, let's run and play." I looked around to see him, but he had gone away. So off we ran into the woods to discuss what was there. We climbed the trees and swam the stream and listened to the birds. And life went on. The stream flowed by. We went our separate ways. I lived the life that was foreseen and left the kids at play. But I feel so different on this day, can hardly find the words. A door swings gently closed behind. I hear the songs of birds. A voice says softly to me, "Come, cross this river here, and see the life I have for you." I saw the beauty clear. I feel so different on this day, will never find the words.